Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. We have a very exciting guest here, and soon to be a very exciting show. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do just a brief hello to all the channel members and everybody out there, and then we're actually going to jump right into it this evening. So I'm excited. So do me a favor, and everyone out there, get ready, because we are about to begin. So first off, I want to show some love to Rusty Crusty Trombone Shackelford. He was first this evening, so congratulations, my friend. You are owed at least one high five. Congrats. We also got Senor Bob coming in at second place. Look at that, beautiful. We got Kurt 24. We got Joe Morris, another channel member. What's up, brother? Good to see you. We got Man Against the Masses, Madam. What's up, brother? Thank you for joining us. The Ghost of P.E.D. Ralph, another channel member. What's up, brother? Thank you for joining us. I believe he was one of the recipients of the channel member giveaways. Let's see, who else we got? Kurt 24. We got Bob, Senor Bob. See, this is what happens when I leave y'all in here talking for so long. ADXR 920. What's up, brother? Another channel member. Mike McClune, channel member. T for Tejas. What's up, brother? Another channel member. And let's see, Mike McClune, Kurt 24, Man Against the Masses, which I'm going to dub you a brand new name. I've brought this up before, Meme Against the Masses, because every single show he memes me or the guest or somebody in some way. So 3D Print General, get ready because you're probably going to get memed tonight. We got Scott Depugnificent. What's up, brother? Another channel member. Rusty, that's right. I already shouted you out. Rusty Shackelford, Rusty Trombone Shackelford. Toy Town Inc. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Craig Licka, Joe Morris, both channel members. And let's see, Goom Beam. If you guys do not know, Goom Beam is one of the dopest flashlights that you can get. And he's also like part of the community. He is in the community with us. So, help a homie out. Oh, snap. And Loki was also one of the recipients of channel membership as well. So, look at that. And we got Senior Zeeth, beep. Thank you for the super chat. Literally just saying beep. I appreciate you. Dang, we got Loki, we got Thirsty Cult. It's about to get crazy up in here. And we got all the regulars. We got the originals. We're about to get it started. Hey, what's up, Michael Bailey? Bailey. Dark. Hit me with the with the boom 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 flex. I like it. Taco Syndicate, what's up, brother? Good to see you. I'm trying to move through them quick, bro. I'm trying to move through them quick because we got a really, really exciting guest. Hey, Dave Michael, what's up, brother? And of course, some of the honorable mentions. We got Savinity. We got the Sandwich Chef, which is the chef of sandwiches. We got Savinity. We got Thirsty Colt back at it again. Do not send him feet pics. He'll never leave you alone. And Farmer James. And of course, if Farmer James is watching, we know Mrs. Farmer James is watching. And a different name. Thank you for for joining us. Slim223. All you guys. Great to see all you guys. So if you have ever 3D printed anything, if you own a 3D printer, if you breathe air and enjoy PLA, carbon fiber, nylon, any of the exotics, anything at all, then you probably have heard of 3D Print General. Now, the cool thing is that the 3D Print General is not only he's just a dude, right? But this is just a dude that has his own book. He has his own filament. Guys. Okay, so step your game up. Okay, and as you can see on the thumbnail, I had to get the picture of him perfect of him holding the FGC 9. So, come out in PLA, come out in PETG. Love it. Appreciate 2 accounts coming up in here. So I want to go ahead and start by introducing our guest for the evening, which is the 3D Print General.
Thirsty, here we go. Okay.
Oh, starting early. Look at that.
I've always wanted somebody to see my feet. They're pretty gross.
I'm just kidding. It's like a Jamaican siren, but I don't have one.
Yeah. What's up, man? Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, dude. I appreciate you coming in and joining us. And we're gonna have a fun show this evening. And honestly, I've been seeing you around, forever, and I really wanted the opportunity to like sit down and just kind of learn more about him. I think everyone else does too. Um, so we can go ahead and jump right into it and let everyone know, because I'm sure not everyone knows who you are, what you do, and where they can find you.
Yeah, I worked for a 3D printer farm for a few years and kind of decided to make my own YouTube channel because they didn't really care about doing that sort of stuff, and I kind of wanted to make videos. And I slowly started making some videos. And at my old work, I realized people kept asking, "Can we fix their printer?" And we were doing it, and it was the most simple fixes, like your bed's not level, and we had to charge them $50 for me to level their bed. And so I just kept thinking, like, there was no books at that time in 2017. And I was
Hmm.
like, I'll just write some book. And it's like a third of the size my current book is. So I've come out with multiple editions since. But yeah, so I did that. I just kept making content. And then in 2020, I interviewed Control Pew. He just like, I just wanted to know more about 3D printed guns. I didn't know anything other than the Liberator, and he got me up to date. A year passes in 2021. He invites me out to Bear Arms and Bitcoin, and I got to shoot
Yep.
a ton of their guns, and I've been hooked ever since. I can't obviously show you, but on my wall here I have about 15 3D printed guns. I've just kind of gone down the rabbit hole ever since. So, and the
Nice.
second channel where I do 3D printed guns.
Hell yeah. Okay, so the guns, not to get all like Fed like, but the 3D printed GATs in the GAT lab, what are the 15 or what are some of the GATs you got up there?
Yeah, so well, my favorite are the two FGC9s. They're not the most functional or the most usable. They probably give me more issues than a lot of the other ones, but I
Yeah.
think it's the coolest gun out there. And I'm building Suckboy Tony's gun, so that one's not quite done yet.
Okay.
But then aside from that, I have a Mac Daddy. I have 4 Glock 17s, all different Chairman Wan frames.
Is one bullpup?
No, I do not have the bullpup. I
Okay.
shot the bullpup at the Bear Arms of Bitcoin, and it just stovepiped over and over and over again, and it
Oh
didn't really
man.
give me a good impression of it.
Yeah, Control Pew, if you're out there, man, don't abandon that project. I believe in it. I actually am friends with one of the guys in Beta, and yeah, don't give up on it, man. We believe in you.
Yeah, it might be misguided faith, but
Of course, any meme gun is right.
yeah. And then actually, so my favorite to shoot is a meme gun. I have the 3011.
Nice.
I actually really like the way it shoots. I know it sounds silly, but
Is that the white one?
is it what?
Is that the white one?
It's a silver color.
Oh, okay.
On my,
Maybe I saw a different picture.
and then what else I have? I have a Smith and Wesson shield, and I have a U-bar. I have a Hoffman. Let me see. I have a 43X.
Nice.
And I have the lever action, the plastic lever action.
Yes, that's fire. It's kind of dope because you actually you kind of shouted out a couple people, which I want to acknowledge too. Hoffman is just an incredible person. He's come on the channel before too. He's a friend of the channel. He's great. I mean, he's just like such a powerful mind, you know. And you mentioned the Liberator, and Cody Wilson has been on a couple times too. He's just both of those dudes are just pure fucking chads, and love them.
Yeah, I actually interviewed Cody on my channel as well. He was literally, I think, the last video I made before my channel started getting strikes, and I had to move all my video content over. But yeah,
Oh,
he was a good interview as well.
yeah, man. He's did he ever talk about what did he call it? The axe. Oh shit, what did he call it? Damn, now I'm gonna forget. He had referred to it as the axe in the doorway. I think it was something about that. Did you ever hear him talk about that?
I do not think so. I could be wrong, but I don't remember him talking about that.
It's some, I probably didn't even get all the underlying shit that he probably meant to say when he was talking about it, but
Yeah.
it was something, some kind of like metaphorically speaking, talking about an axe in the doorway, right? Basically, like during the Bolshevik Revolution, keeping tyrants out. And I kind of think he was relating that to 3D printing and firearm building and the ghost gunner and shit like that to kind of like being the axe in the doorway or the axe behind the doorway or whatever it was.
Every philosophy with that dude. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you learn a lot about different philosophers whenever you talk about him. Talk to him.
Yeah, no, he's crazy in a good way,
Yeah.
But so you started kind of in a print farm. What did that look like?
Yeah, I mean, this was 2015, so in relative terms, that's not that long ago. But when comparing it to the 3D printer advancement over the last, what is that, 7 years ago, we were using mostly Lulzbot Taz 3s, if anybody knows what those are. Yeah, and then we had some MakerBots and a few other like Airwolf and random companies that I don't think really exist anymore. We had about 24 printers. I was the operations manager, and it was my best friend and my stepbrother, who know each other because of me, got together and started this company. And they eventually were growing, and they said, we need cheap labor. And they're like, hey, we know a guy who's cheap labor. And so I came
I
on
know
then.
just the guy.
Yeah, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about 3D printing, no engineering background. And really just a marketing background. And that's why I was in charge of their marketing as well as running the print farm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helped me later on. It was really hard at the beginning because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But
Yeah.
I feel like it allowed me to write that book in a way. Like, for instance, my best friend, who's a mechanical engineer, is one of the smartest dudes I know. He was building printers from scratch in 2014, and I don't think he can explain it to someone who's an idiot like myself. I can explain it to somebody who's like an idiot like myself, because I had to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and
And
we had a few hundred different clients, and I was just in charge of making sure the printers were running, the clients got their prints, and that sort of stuff.
And I think you may have mentioned this. So I kind of like started paying more attention to your story, admittedly, when you came on John Crump Live. And I think you may have mentioned this before, but what were you guys printing like mostly at that point?
Yeah, it was mostly boring stuff. I think our number one like moneymaker was just random electrical enclosures for somebody who's doing small production runs. So like I always use this as an example, but he is one of many. We had one guy who was, remember this is 2015, he was putting Chromecasts into hotels, and every time he signed a new hotel, he needs 300 or however many rooms there are, enclosures for his thing that holds the Chromecast in the back of the TV. So we had a bunch of clients that were like that, and so pretty boring. And then, but we did have a few inventors who were trying to just see what the size of their item would look like if they went to production. And then we also had random larger projects where it was like an insurance company for a trade show wanted to have an entire city, like really small. I mean, not small, but like, what was that? Like 20 feet by 12 feet city, where they showed all the different things they insure. And so we
What?
had to design and print the entire thing and deliver to their trade show. So that was like a rare one-off sort of thing, but mostly
That's crazy.
random electrical enclosures for items I never saw.
Dang, that's pretty nuts. Were you still getting like the typical Fed questions back then, even though you weren't doing gun stuff? Were you getting like can you print me a build plate full of switches?
It's funny. No, well, I don't even know if. So, I mean, the only thing I knew of back then was the Liberator. I think that's all that there was in 2015. But
Yeah.
we never got it, and it's probably a good thing we didn't, because my best friend is probably even more libertarian than myself, and he may have just done it and then ended up in jail. So I think it's a good thing that we didn't get those requests.
Coming right up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh shit, we could do that.
Yeah, really. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean now that you mention it, somebody else just mentioned that they had was it a Monoprice, a MakerBot that's 7 years old. And yeah, I mean the technology has come super far, right? But it's funny you mentioned the companies asking for stuff. I was so John Crump and I, we live like in roughly the same area, and we got an introduction to walk through this like huge 100,000 square foot new. It's a gun shop, a gun range, a gym. They got childcare. Like it's this huge facility, right? And their firearm selection is like next to none. It's crazy. And I'm walking through and I'm looking at all of their stands. And I'm like, that looks printed. And I asked to see a gun, and they're like, here you go. And I was like, can I see the stand too? He's like, oh no, that's not for sale. I was like, I know, can I just see it, please? Like all weird. And they were all 3D printed. I was like, dude, you had these printed? He was like, yeah, we got them for bargain too. I was like, bro, like I would have printed these for you, man. He's like, yeah, they were only $30 each. I was like, oh my God. But it's crazy. A lot of companies that aren't really into 3D printing, I mean, they utilize a lot of shit like that,
Yeah, and I'll be honest, we charged we weren't cheap, but we were probably cheaper than the competitors, but it was still like it's more expensive than you think, because you got to factor in, like, you got to pay me, the operations manager, and you got to
Yeah.
the time and electricity and the rent of the place. And if we just charged what the material cost, we would be losing a ton of money. So it actually,
yeah, for sure.
The prices are actually a decent amount higher than you'd imagine. That's why our number one clients were actually just, I need 200 of the same object that's this size, because we can price that pretty low. But if you're like, I need one part that's this big, it's like, we're going to be more than you think, sort of thing.
Yeah. No, that's true. And yeah, I guess with a company doing that, you're going to have like a scalable, you're going to know what your costs are. Just a dude doing it on the side will be like $10, $7, $5, kind of different. So your kind of introduction into firearms was when you interviewed Controlled Pew?
Yep. And that video is actually the reason I have a warning on my channel. But that actually got me. It was like a 750,000 views, my most viewed video on my channel. I had decided, I want to cover 3D printed guns. And I'm like, I'm going to stupidly in California, without knowing the laws, but before I moved, I was like, I'll print a bunch of liberators. And then I start doing research. I'm like, oh man, I'm way behind. And so I was like, let me just interview him instead of trying to figure this out myself. And
yeah. Dang. So 750,000 views from that interview with him?
Yeah, before it got striked and taken off. It was up for 2.5 years before YouTube decided to strike it.
Isn't that crazy, man? I had a video that was up for almost 2 years, and it was me, Dugan Ashley, and Johnny B talking about at the time the recent election. And a couple people in the conversation had mentioned how they weren't certain if this process was free and clear of cheating.
Keep talking. I'm going to try to plug my mic into a different port. I had this issue last stream, so somebody was telling me. But keep talking.
Yeah, that's cool. They had said, they didn't know if this electoral process was as free and clear as, some might think it to be, right? And it was up for nearly 2 years, and it got taken down randomly for misinformation.
Yeah. No.
Oh, dude, your audio is like peak. It's perfect now. That's
okay.
Awesome.
I think it was because I was plugging it into my fan port below my computer instead of directly into my computer.
Well, now it is like absolute. I was getting a little bit of feedback before, but not enough to like stop the show. Didn't want to be weird or anything. But yeah, no, that's perfect now. Yeah, it was clipping a little bit too. I'm a bad host. I should have told you. Yeah, so you never know. They will come out of the blue, and the larger you get, the more reach you get. After a while, they're like, "Oh, now we're gonna look at all of his shit, every word said," and they'll slap your pee for sure.
And they come at you hard. I mean, really quick. So I had one the one with Control Pew, and then 1 week later I got hit with 2 within a matter of 10 minutes of each other. And so I just made the quick call because I had 2 strikes. I was like, I'm taking all my gun videos down, and that's why I started my cameraman started the second channel. If anybody from YouTube is watching, but look at like Print Shoot Repeat. I don't know if you followed his stuff, but he was blown up huge. Everybody loved his stuff, and then just out of nowhere, bam, bam, and had to make the quick decision too and remove all his stuff.
It's literally just like the moment that your reach appears to be too much for them to bear, and the moment that they see you start to inspire freedom, independence, and privacy. It's weird how that works.
Yeah, they seem to want to hit you when you're growing, but not so big. Like they always use the example of like, oh, Ben Shapiro hasn't been banned, all these other random conservatives because they're massive. But the moment you start growing to the point where they're like, oh, this guy could get massive. I mean, like Print Shoot Repeat, I think could be a 10 million subscriber channel.
Oh yeah.
And but it wasn't on the radar when they're 50,000, and then
and then all of a sudden it's like boom, he's God, I don't even know. So I had him on the channel before, and I mean, he was probably at like, I don't know, 40,000 subscribers or something. We were like, whoa, and I mean, he's huge now, and it's just unfortunate, and that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. I wanted to hard PP slap, sign me up. Sorry, that's kind of why I wanted to have you on, was to have a conversation, or at least kind of touch on the state of the union for 3D printing, 3D two-way, whatever you want to call it. And I'm kind of torn about this as well, because like you're saying, you can build a channel like this. You can, build something that's focused on freedom, independence, firearms, building, or even just reviewing build stuff, right? You don't even have to show anything specifically, and they will find, some way to strike you down. So with all the, censorship, with all the, pushing people to have to go to different platforms, which I really wish we could all just go to different platforms. But where do you see us like now with where the 3D printing, firearms, and the building community is? Like, what are your thoughts on everything you've seen over the last year, 2?
Yeah, I think I have both a potential negative and a hopeful positive, but I don't think YouTube is going to be long lasting for us. I mean, just the change within the last year. Like I said, my channel, I mean, I was fine. I was making videos. They allowed me to monetize my gun videos because they were monetizable. I didn't break any rules. And for like a full year, these videos are monetized. They manually checked all of them. And then just one day, they're like, nope, no more. Same thing with Print, Shoot, Repeat. And I think that's going to continue, probably getting worse on YouTube. I think YouTube is they might just eventually just change their terms of service instead of like just randomly banning us. They might just say 3D printed guns are not allowed. No discussion of it. I wouldn't put that past them at all.
Yeah.
So that's negative. And how we get out of that, or how we continue to talk about it, we either have to build our own community, our own websites, which is like, and run on Odyssey and Rumble. But honestly, the viewership on that is just so minimal. So that's kind of my negative look. I don't know what we do in that situation. I'm hopeful, since Elon bought Twitter, he's talking about doing long form monetizable videos on Twitter. And I don't like looking to one person to be like, hey, save us, please, because single point of failure and all that. But he says he wants long form monetizable videos, and he'll pay creators higher rate than YouTube. That is a YouTube alternative with a user base right off the bat. And I'll happily make videos for Twitter all day. And I'm sure Print, Shoot, Repeat would as well, especially if we monetize them. So, not that we're doing it all for the money, but it helps us to continue to make more videos.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Well, and
so,
also there's
yeah,
another piece too, just real quick, that like a lot of times when some viewers hear like, oh, why is it about monetization? Monetization in the world of content creation means that it's going to reach more people, right?
yeah,
So it's not about the $7.50 that a content creator may get that week or whatever. It's about the fact that when it is monetized, that means it's safe for ads. When it's safe for ads, they will place it in more, in more news feeds, more short reels, more, whatever. It just shows up for notifications. I cannot tell you how many people hit me up like 2 days after a stream and they're like, "Oh, dude, I never got a notification." I'm like, what the hell? So yeah, that's what we're talking about,
well,
y'all.
not just that, it's also if YouTube can't make money on your video because the YouTube split is like what 60/40 or something along those lines. They make
Yeah,
60, we make 40. I might have that wrong, but
roughly. Yeah,
if your video isn't making any money, then YouTube isn't making any money. So why would they suggest your video?
yeah.
So that's number one. But then, I mean, I have proof of it where I have on my main channel a video called combining TPU and PLA, and I use IDEX printers to try to combine the properties of PLA and TPU into a single print. So like hard outside, flexible inside, sort of thing.
Mm,
And I printed grips for a AR-15, but so I could do like the texture on the outside TPU. And I didn't print a gun. I mean, it could have been for an airsoft or it could have been for a cosplay.
yeah.
It could have been anything. That video within one day got 20,000 views. So it was just skyrocketing.
Wow.
They demonetized me. I appealed. They said no, no. I don't know why because I showed a pistol grip, but they instantly it went from in 24 hours 20,000 views. I think now like 4 months later it has 25,000 views. So
That's so crazy.
it
Yeah,
just
that
gets
I
way
mean,
less reach.
to them it's all about money, right? To them it's all about you know keeping people on the platform as long as possible. That's actually one of the things we were talking about prior to me jumping on here. And it's crazy. It's also about reach. They don't want people with excessive reach or people that are, I don't know if there's like some special number that they're looking at, like, okay, this guy has had X amount of growth in X amount of time, which has exceeded this percentage. So this AI algorithm, this algorithm says that, we need to start,
Yeah.
like canceling this guy. I don't know what they're doing, but if something like Twitter was an option, I would give it a shot. And, I don't have a big, Twitter like following or anything, but I also have this like really strange, like deep-seated fear that Elon Musk is just going to turn out to be like controlled opposition or something. And
It's a valid fear. That seems to be what every other hope we've had has turned into. So
yeah,
I don't deny that, but I am hopeful. That's all I could be. And like I said, it's really annoying to just have this single. Even, let's say he's not controlled opposition. He's still
mhm,
just one dude. He's one
yeah,
dude. It's not like we have this army of people fighting for this or people in control of companies. So
yeah,
if you can somehow influence him or who knows what, it's one single point and then it's all gone anyway. But
yeah,
I'm going to still try to look on, be white pilled and hope that we have a potential good future in that regard because Twitter would be a valid alternative. I promote Odyssey all the time,
mhm,
uh, uh, but at the end of the day, in 1 year, I've been on Odyssey for over a year. I get the same amount of views on Odyssey in 1 year than I do in 1 week on YouTube. So it's
damn.
like, it's just not people aren't there. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I agree. I'm hopeful, and I hope that we get to a point where we can at least find some level of peace and harmony on YouTube. I was told by a couple creators that are very influential that in 2023 that YouTube is going to be basically forced to become more firearm friendly, or they're missing out on millions and millions and millions, blah 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 dollars. I don't know. I mean, I have a tough time, seeing that, but I'll keep my fingers crossed. I will pray that that happens, and I'll remain hopeful as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I YouTube, it's hard for me to see because I don't think they necessarily care about. I just talked about how they won't promote your video unless they're making money, but at the same time, I don't think money is their main goal when it comes to blocking creators and stuff. So
Yeah,
I'll be hopeful though.
they've proven that they will take their ideals over money,
Yeah,
right? They've proven that, and unless like some of these guys are over a million, that kind of seems to be like the magic number, right? Like once you're over a million, you have permanent YouTube rep. They don't mess with you as much. But I don't know, like Tactical Toolbox is kind of on this like path to a million, and I think he's just trying to do that like with every breath to save his channel. But hey, I don't know. We can hope. I hope that there's an opportunity for us on YouTube. But so how have you seen that they've kind of been like clamping the hose on information, whether it's about gun building in general or 3D printing, etc.?
yeah. Well, like you just speaking on my personal experience, like I said, I just in quick succession. So I got a warning. 1 week later, strike. 10 minutes later, second strike, and that's why I was just like sitting like in my underwear at the computer, like, oh shit, am I about to lose my channel? Like, I was at like I don't know 85,000 subs or something like that at the time,
Mhm.
and I was like, you know what, I screw it. I'm just removing all the gun videos. So I've seen it in that way, and then also they won't give me my 100,000 subscriber award. I just hit 100,000 like a week and a half ago, and it takes like 5 days for it to register. I checked my channel. They said you're not eligible. You have reached 100,000 subscribers, but you're not eligible for the award. And I just was like, they didn't give me a reason. And so my channel's in good standing now. The strike expired. The warning is forever, but the strike expired.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a rep. I thought at 100,000 maybe I give a rep, but no, I had to wait in the chat room, and I spoke to this lady, and basically they just spent me in circles like, you can't break community guidelines. I'm like, I'm not breaking community guidelines. And they were like, but you have a warning. I'm like, but the warning's permanent. And they're like, you can reapply in 90 days. I'm like, but you just told, but the warning's permanent. And they literally just, I went back and forth with them for 30 minutes, and basically they just said it's up to YouTube's discretion who gets the award. And so I was
That's
just like,
crazy.
yeah. So I mean, even then, even though I've removed anything gun related, it's just like, yeah,
Hashtag give him his award.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's bullshit, man. I mean, I know you worked really hard for that, and I know you planned in advance for a celebratory stream as
Yeah.
well. That probably was a little dicey. Like, oh, I don't know, 99,999,
Yeah,
but you hit it.
I was doing the math on when I should hit it, and I luckily hit it the day before the stream because I was like, it was like I was doing really good, and then it tapered off, and I'm like, oh no, am I not going to hit it? And
Yeah, yeah.
luckily it did.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you guys out there too, if you guys have questions, go ahead and throw them in to chat as well. Um, so why? And this may be kind of self-explanatory, but it's always good for the viewers to hear your thoughts. Like, why is 3D printing, gun building, like why is that important to you?
Yeah, I am. I always try to keep any sort of politics off my own channel, just because I figure people are following me for 3D printing advice, not necessarily my politics. But
Sure.
whenever I'm somebody else's channel, I don't mind. I got into. I'm a pretty staunch libertarian. In 2012, the whole Ron Paul movement. I was pretty into that, and been in if anybody's heard of the Mises Institute, I've gone to a bunch of Mises Institute events, and I've always had that. I used to run an economics blog. I think if you like go to page 2 of Google, if you were to search my name, you might eventually find some of the old articles I used to write. So I've always been into Austrian economics and basically freedom as a whole. I've never was really into guns. I've owned just one pistol since since like 2011, but I mean, I shot it a handful of times. I lived in Southern California, so I didn't have anybody around me who was into guns to get me into it.
Hmm.
But no, I think it is a very important fundamental right. I've always thought it was. I just wasn't personally into it until 3D printed guns. I mean, right now, I mean, I'll tell you, I think I have 3 real guns, and I have like 15 3D printed ones. So
Yeah.
I care. I don't know. Once I met Control Pew and I got into this movement, I felt like I've been going to these Mises Institute events, and these guys are all really smart, but it's like we've been talking, and everything's getting worse.
Yeah.
These guys are doing something about it. And so I think I said this on John Crump, but it kind of cured my apathy a little bit. I was getting very apathetic about how everything's going. And I feel like I've been a lot happier since getting into this movement because I'm like, at least I'm doing my own little tiny, tiny thing
Yep.
to help rather than just complain. So
Yeah, I feel you. That's a really important thing, and I think a couple things happen. I think when you're involved in the community, it's good, it's positive, it's also fun, right? Like it's
yeah,
you meet a lot of awesome people. You build relationships, and you see the level of like talent and creativity that all these people have. The devs out there are like just remarkable, and
yeah,
it's like this is a dude doing this shit on like the side, like for funsies, and it's crazy seeing the kind of stuff that comes out. And I kind of felt the same way, very like apathetic, and I didn't feel like there was, aside from some things on like, I guess, integrating things with the channel to kind of wake people up, but like awake, not woke,
yeah, yeah.
and I started a website selling jigs when the ATF changed made the rule change. No legislation, no act of Congress. They just changed a definition. No big deal. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to sell jigs, and that really made me feel like I had a purpose contributing to the community, and I'm helping people build guns, and that's important to me. So I feel you there, that getting that sense of like purpose and finding a way to contribute to the community, that's important.
And it's funny, I ran my channel for, I don't know, what was that, 4 years before I started 3D printing guns. And now I'm just like, what did I ever print? I don't even know why I printed anything else now. So,
Yeah,
yeah, no, we're actually doing something instead of just like, and like you said, it just makes you happy. Like one of my really good buddies always, he calls me like every day and complains to me about the world, and I'm always just like, just print guns, and I don't know, there's just something about like, uh, I don't care what's going on, I'm doing my own little thing to hopefully change for the better. But
yeah, yeah. I think that's all that it takes. Now, if every single person in the community could contribute something, just some like little thing, that'd be huge. Um, but what are like, who are some of your favorite developers or some of your
that's
favorite projects?
Yeah, that's tough to say. So definitely I have to mention Suckboy Tony, even though I haven't printed his
Yeah,
gun yet. So I haven't actually even used one of his guns yet. But you were mentioning just with the ATF, just one line, they changed the rule.
yeah,
I wouldn't put it past them to just all of a sudden say now barrels need to be serialized. Now, uppers or whatever, without an
yeah,
act of Congress. I mean, they could do it, and then next thing you know, all of these lower projects that we have are meaningless because we can't even buy the barrels.
yeah,
And so him completely taking a new look on how guns are designed. Well, they could make it so ammo you have to be registered. Now you make your own ammo with his gun. You make everything from just Home Depot parts. So he's definitely my favorite. Even though, like I said, I haven't actually shot one of his guns. My favorite, who's what he's doing. And then other than that, like you said, Hoffman, I really like his AR.
yeah.
Really super simple to put together. Chairman Juan, I have 4 of his Glocks on my wall up there. I
Nice.
used to kind of hate Glocks just because I'm like, these are so uncomfortable. He
Yeah,
somehow made them comfortable, so I like Glocks now because of him.
nice.
And let me think. And then obviously Ivan the Troll is probably the other that I've printed I have his U-Bar and I have his 3011. And there's so many others. I mean, it's hard to just stop there, but those are the 3 that I think I've probably printed the most.
Yeah. And Come Out in PLA, which is one of the most creative names in the
Yeah.
community, by the way. Come Out in PLA says something that I completely agree with. He says Tony is more important than I think he realizes. Totally agree. And they could, and like you mentioned, they could come out and say barrels need to be serialized, and whatever slides and hand guards need to be serialized. Like I have an 1851 Colt Navy revolver. Literally every single piece of metal on that firearm is serialized. It's crazy. So I mean, who knows where they may go one day, but they could say anything, any tool that uses some type of black powder, Pyrex combustion material needs to be serialized, have a background check or whatever. We never know what level of craziness it's going to go. So wouldn't it be important for us to be able to, be aware of projects like the things that Suckboy Tony does, and
Yeah.
be familiar with chemicals and things like that?
And like I said, he's making it. I think it's like $40 at Home Depot parts. Like it's just like a metal pipe and then screws and random stuff like that. And then obviously you need the electrical ignition. I'm not sure how much that costs, but I don't think it's expensive. But then on top of that, he's making his own ammo, which is so important. It's caseless ammo and is using black powder. And he was saying in a worst case scenario, you can make it out of your piss. Like it's like, how are you going to regulate this? So
out of your literal piss.
yeah.
And that's back in like the Civil War. I'm sure even way before that, they would actually, when they set up like camps, they would actually have areas marked off where they told all of the guys to go piss, and they did that so they could make black powder from it.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
So yeah, and I agree. Also, I don't think he realizes how important he is. Come Out in PLA. I also don't, I extremely don't think people who donate money to Second Amendment causes have any idea how important he is, because you just think like all this money going to the NRA, all this money going to these random causes. If 1 fraction of a percent went to Tony, I mean, I'm pretty sure he has a real job. I'm not exactly positive on that. This guy should be making. Give him a $10 million budget per year so he can develop, and you'll see 2A advance so much faster than throwing wasted money at the NRA or wherever else.
Oh yeah. I mean, most of the communities out there, or well, most of the organizations out there are, mostly dog shit anyway.
Yeah.
And we just got invaded by a bunch of viewers from the Tactical Turkeys, so I guess their stream just ended. So thank you guys for coming over. And Josh B out there, I saw you sneak in here. Thank you for for joining us. Haven't seen you in like a year, bro. So good to see you. And Damian, Shauna, Barton, Too Many Choices, Chuck Norris, Silverback, Night Custom Builds, Clint Eastwood, all you guys, good to see y'all, man. Thank you for joining. So what are some other things that you're into? Like tell me more about 3D Print General - Sean.
Oh man, I got this question once before and I just like stood at the screen going like, what the hell else do I do?
I heard you have a fiance.
Yes, I have a fiance. We're getting married in October, so not for a little while, but that's a stressful. Even though it's a while out, I have to save money for that crap, and it's ridiculously expensive.
It's a good move.
I've been. We got the venue. I'm still trying to figure out. We're trying to get Texas barbecue for that wedding, and we just sent out the invite, so that's definitely taken up some time. I spent a lot of time with my lab. Love that dog, even though she's absolutely insane. I swear I do other things, but whenever I'm put on the spot, I'm always like, I feel like I don't do anything.
No, it's all good. I mean,
I'm part of a 3D 2A Get Back in Shape group. So we are all, there's like 40 of us in a Twitter group chat, and we all motivate each other to go to the gym. And so I've been going to the gym like 6 days a week for almost 2 months now, and I'm trying to get back into the shape I once was before I just let everything go.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Good for you. That's a game changer. That's something that I just recently was like, all right, you know what? I gotta I've been taking my diet more seriously, but I haven't been working out, and I was like, all right, I got to do something because we all talk about this. We talk about like the world without rule of law, and like the end of the world as we know it, or the boog, or whatever you want to call it. And it's like, you know, the reality is that most of us probably couldn't last one day in full kit, or like run a mile, right?
Yeah.
Or run for a quarter mile for your fucking life. See how well you do. And it was just kind of a realization that you gotta, you know, keep yourself in, physically in good shape, but also mentally. So that's dope. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah, yeah. It was like I used to be in actually really, really good shape, like print shoot repeat shape. And then the coof hit, and then I actually broke my femur a few months into the coof.
Oh,
And then I just used that as an excuse for the next like year and a half of like I'm not working out. And then next thing you know, I'm like, I'm walking fine. Why am I not? And I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, what did you do? And so
I
yeah.
mean, that's a valid excuse though. I think, that 2 year, 14 days, that 2 year long 14 days,
Yeah.
really, effed a lot of us up. But what, n- oh shit, I had to go. Oh, what did you do to break your femur?
Really dumb. I have like really brittle bones. That was like my 15th break in my life. I just rented a scooter in Austin, one of those stupid little
Like
scooters.
the lime.
Yeah, I made it about 50 feet. No joke, 50 feet from renting it right in front of my buddy's apartment. I hit a pothole, fell right on my hip. I'm like a
Oh,
90-year-old woman. I fell from standing height. It wasn't like I fell off a thing. And it's so funny. Like I fell and I was like laughing about it. I'm like, there's no way I just fucking hurt myself. And my buddies helped me drag me off to the curb, and I'm just laying there. And I eventually they eventually carry me back to their apartment, and I'm like, dude, there's no way I actually hurt myself. And so I'm just laying on the couch. I'm like, you guys go to the bar without me. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. And I
yeah.
just like used a belt to tie my legs together. And then like an hour
Oh,
passes, and I'm like, this isn't getting any better. And I ended up having to
yeah.
call the paramedics, and because I'm like I got more stiff in that hour and a half of just sitting on the couch.
Oh my
And
God.
the paramedics were making me laugh because they were literally saying like, we haven't seen anybody under the age of 85 with this injury.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and so it was a hip fracture, but it was at my femur at the top of my hip. Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy. And I will say, I've been in Austin. I've been on those fucking scooters, and like, it's easy, especially in a place like Austin. It's highly populated. You got to be able to like scooter ollie over homeless people like all over the place.
Yeah.
Scooter jump or whatever. It's tough. And those things, I was getting up to like 15 miles an hour on those shits. So
Oh, like I said, it was 50 feet, so I wasn't going very. I literally just started, hit a pothole, fell, and so yeah, it was bad. I mean, I was right in front of the apartment. They didn't have to move me at all. Like I went straight into the apartment from where I was.
oh my
Yeah, but now
God.
I have a bunch of metal rods in my femur, all from that. So
What are
yeah,
they like? Titanium? Like
yeah, they had to take or whatever they use, aluminum, titanium, whatever it is. Yeah, uh I get to the hospital, and they take x-rays, and they come in like, so we're gonna get you into surgery. And I was just like, what? And I was like, what happens if I say no? And they were like, you never walk again. And I'm like, okay. And so
decision made.
decision made. Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. I mean, you suffered through the pain for like a couple hours or hour and a half?
Oh yeah, well, it was probably about 3 hours from when I hit my femur to actually getting into the hospital, and they started injecting me with the good stuff. And then yeah, the surgery actually wasn't until the next morning. They made me sleep in my mask, which really pissed me off. I was in a room by myself, and they wouldn't let me. Yeah. So
And that was at the beginning of the whole coof.
it was like end of summer, so a little bit into it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So when everyone was um I call it like the social policing, right? Like,
Yeah.
when they can't like lawfully enforce all these, you got to wear a mask, got to get a vax, you got to do this, got to do that, where society does it for them,
Yeah.
that kind of the beginning of that time frame.
Yeah, and I was literally like, I have my own room. Can I and they're like, no,
Yeah,
you have to wear
there's no one else here.
it.
There's no one. It's like the people you see in the cars all the time that are just by themselves rocking a mask. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you hotboxing your mask? I don't get
Yeah.
it. That's crazy, man. That's a good sign that ups your boogaloo points that you could go 3 hours plus with broken broken bones, just manning it up,
Oh, it's happened a few times. Other time I rode my bike, flipped over the handlebar. I used to ride my bike everywhere, hit a pothole, flipped over the handlebars, broke my elbow and both my wrists, and I called an Uber and just I was like all bleeding. I was like, just take me home. And they took me
Oh
home
my
and I fell asleep on the couch. I was like, I'll sleep it off. I'm fine. And I woke up just like, oh, I'm stiff. So
so
yeah,
you
I never believe I actually break it whenever I break it. But
so you actually, I mean, you're dead ass serious. You have like brittle bones.
so I've never been diagnosed with anything, but when I was a kid, I broke my wrist playing goalie in soccer and stopping a ball. So like
I'm
I
sorry. I don't mean to laugh.
no
I'm sorry.
I've looked it up and there is such a thing as brittle bone syndrome, but I've never been diagnosed with anything. So
Wow, that's crazy. He said, dude, you need to avoid potholes. That is crazy.
yeah.
Oh snap! Look at this, AG Cass. Good guest by Sean's book. So that we did briefly touch on your book, and AG Cass, thank you for the shout out. So let's talk about that. Let them kind of know a little bit about the book and where they can get it. I think that's really important for the community.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's no pressure for anybody. Basically, all the info in here you can find online. So I always say that, but I tried to put it into one resource. This is the 2022 edition. I finished it like November, December last year. I call it 3D printing failures, and I did that on purpose because the first edition I made in 2017, and I just felt like every company was marketing a plug and play printer that you never have to check on. You just put it in, you're good to go. And I was like, I'm going to be honest about this and just talk about everything that can go wrong and then how to fix it. And, I might sound a little doom and gloom. Anybody can do it. It's just, I wanted to be honest with people. Now, printers nowadays do have a lot of improvements, but I tried to make it here. So the first 100 pages now are like, read these first if you want to get a background on what you're doing. Oh, then I
Hmm.
forgot I have my green screen thing open. But basically,
Oh,
I have a few pages here of diagnosing failures where I try to show what the failure looks like and then what page to go to fix it. And so, yeah, that's pretty much that book. And like I said, I've slowly added to it over the years. Polymaker added a chapter about material science, which was a ton of help because that's all stuff I had no idea about. And it really does help you to understand. Like I'm telling you what to do when this fails. They kind of explain why it's failing.
mm.
And so you can kind of figure out what to do just by understanding why it's failing. But is there a 2023? No, I've kind of made the plan of to do it every 2 years just because I was going to write one in 2021 edition. And I'm sitting in front of the computer going, I don't think there's enough to justify telling people to buy a new book. I feel like 2 years is a good enough amount of time to actually justify a new edition. So
Yeah,
2024 will be the plan for the next one.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, there each year, I'd say there's been a lot of advancement, especially in materials, right? With a lot
And
of the exotics.
this year actually had a bunch of printer advancements, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I do think a lot of the so like when I came into printing, and I'm not like some expert, right? I would say I'm still a novice. But thank you, Chamber of Defense.
Yeah, thank you.
He
I
just got a
appreciate it.
2022 book. Hell yeah. Um, so I started with the Micro Center special, the $99 Ender 3,
Mhm.
and I'm still running that. But I kind of feel like nowadays, like you said, a lot of the advancements that have come to 3D printers at way more affordable rates than say if this type of shit came out like 5 years ago, like auto bed leveling, and they're kind of like they may seem like cheat codes, but for some of the new folks coming into it, they may be kind of leaning on some of these newer features when the reality is that they got to put some of the work in too, you know?
Yeah, I do agree with that, but there are some printers like that Bamboo Lab. I always shill it. They don't pay me. I always make sure to say they don't tell me to say anything. They don't pay me. I just really like the printer.
Yeah.
I never have to do anything on that freaking printer. And so, it does all the checks before the print. And so, yes, you could end up relying on it, but I feel like that's how every product is that we buy, every electronic we buy. I would have no idea how to fix just about any electronic in my house if it broke.
Yeah.
So I do think that will eventually be the way we're heading. But like you were mentioning, even that Ender 3 you have
Mhm.
is probably, it might, the stock one can't print as high a temperature, but it's probably more reliable than those Airwolves that we had in 2015 or 2014 that we were using in our office.
There's some
Oh, it looks great.
pretty clean prints with it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to
That
be cautious, but
that Airwolf that we had that they bought in 2014 and I was using in 2015, that
mhm.
I would prefer an Ender 3 to that, but that printer costs like $2,200.
Mm,
So
mm.
yes, the number one advancement has been the reduction in price over the years. And then, like I said, this past year now we just have printers that are much faster. They're including some form of AI detection of failure, some form of advanced leveling features, and
Wow.
yes, people will eventually rely on them, but I do think that will be the future just because, like, if my microwave breaks, I have no idea how to fix it. So I think that
Yeah,
will be kind of where we're heading.
that's true. I mean, and I guess one question about your book. Do you have anything in your book about thermistors?
Yeah, no. So in a few different chapters, I cover like your HOT and not reading the proper temperature or not reading temperature or
Yeah.
error min temp, sort of readouts for the thermistor. But
I
anything specific?
I'm partially joking. Some folks in chat will probably make fun of me here shortly, but so I got my printer. Actually, it's kind of more of a story. So I had John Crump who gave me a printer like years ago, right? Probably 3 years ago, and it was an old monoprice, like or monoprice, monoprint, mono something, Ender clone, right? And I could not tell you how many man hours I put into that thing trying to fix it, trying to level the bed, and I eventually got it to print after like weeks of working on this thing. Okay. And nothing else. It was when like Enders had taken over the world. So, maybe not 3 years, maybe about 2 years ago, now that I'm thinking about it. Having that printer just felt like an extra year of my life. And I found out that the way this system was is it was actually on, like, 2 rods. The bed was on, like, 2 rods, and one of the rods was kinda warped, and, there was just no way to ever get the, bed totally, level, so I ended up trashing it and, actually recycled it, gave it to someone who was gonna harvest the step motor and stuff, so it went to good use. But, I ended up, getting an Ender, and I got it to print a few things. Printed a few frames, and it basically started getting from, like, the first week that I had it, I went through and I printed a bunch of normal stuff, right? But then after I started printing some frames, it was like, "Error, thermal runaway." And I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And then every time I started the printer, it would fail after like 5 minutes, thermal runaway every time. So everybody I talked to, I was talking with everyone about diagnosing it, and they were like, it's your thermistor. It's your thermistor. So I actually had come out in PLA, UAV Hero, like a couple like the go-to guys in here. They sent me new thermistors. I still took like 6 months to replace the shit. Finally replaced it, and it was running for like 2 months. Like, and nothing could go wrong on this printer. And then I moved. I moved to a new house, and I had to like redo everything. I had to re-level it. I had to, get new filament in there. Anyway, first thing, I get an extrusion issue. I get a bed leveling issue. I get all the shit's going on. And then as soon as I get my printer up and running, thermal runaway. I was like, no. So I have had a very bad relationship with my thermistor, and I think it's a firmware issue but I'm just
It
guessing.
could be. It's also, when you replaced the thermistor, did you run all new wiring or did you just connect it?
So I ran all new wiring
Oh, okay,
from the
perfect.
hot end all the way because a couple of people were telling me like, no, just snip it, splice it, and then run. I didn't want to do that,
Yeah,
and I wanted to get a really intimate relationship with my
yeah.
with my 3D printer.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's hard to say exactly. I mean, obviously they're right when they're saying this the thermistor. I was just thinking like it could even just be so like a lot of my thermistors are with connectors, from the board, the wiring, and then you just use a connector to connect the two. And
Mhm.
if your wire is slightly pushed up, it might not be getting it gets the proper metal contact and then it moves a little bit and loses the contact. And,
Yeah.
that could be it. But you said you ran completely new wiring. So never mind on that. And then if anybody used old E3D products, their thermistors were just like this glass bulb rather than the cartridges that they have now. And that glass bulb, I mean, I probably shattered like 50 of those things. So
I think that may be, that sounds very familiar.
yeah, yeah.
Just a little glass bulb and, come out in PLA. Did you go through all the thermistors already? I think I have one left. Let me know if it's that little glass, little glass bulb we were just talking about because, if it is, it may just be nuked. I thought it was something where, like, if the printer had exceeded the temperature in the G code, because I would notice that I would print it at 200 and it would go like 205, 208, 210, and then I would see a thermal runaway. So I was like, oh, maybe it's something with the temperature exceeding what's in the G code, but I was told that's probably not an issue.
Well, so it's funny actually. Thermal runaway, normally thermistor issues, like connectivity issues, it will be
Hmm.
more like error min temp, or you'll get like a zero readout for your temperature. Usually thermal runaway, it's reading the correct temperature but it's heating too much, and that's a safety precaution to prevent your house from setting on fire because it'll just keep heating. And um that it's hard for me to say exactly what the cause would be, but it could. I mean, you could maybe just need to run a PID auto tune. I don't know if you did that at all, but PID auto tune. Like I said, I'm not an engineer, so I never know the proper terminology. But PID is basically just like if it goes over your set temperature, change the number, go below your set temperature, and it kind of always fluctuates around that temperature.
Okay.
And if you have your PID auto tune set wrong, when you set your temperature to 200 degrees, it might shoot to 240 before it falls back down. And so a PID auto tune test is a G code command that you would send to your printer, and it will do cycles and then read out what you say, hey, do a PID auto tune test for 205 degrees, and it'll do like a bunch of cycles to figure out what the proper number is. So I don't know, that
Okay.
might help, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm just going to mess with it some more. I mean, I also have to realize that, I mean, although like you mentioned, it is a safety precaution, and I typically do like to keep my home fire free.
Yeah.
I also have to realize that like I've gotten over a year's worth of printing on a $99 Ender 3. Like I could upgrade, and man, that bamboo is looking mighty fine.
Yeah,
But
I have run into a couple issues recently that I can explain if you want, but overall, the least amount of issues of any printer I've had. It's the only printer I'll click print and just walk away. Like I would never do that on a different printer. And yeah, I mean, and how fast it is. I'm printing, a Glock frame in like 5 hours or less.
dang, that's crazy. Now, are you running like Octoprint or something like that, or?
No, it has its own. It's a closed firmware, closed source firmware, and their slicer connects. You can run it on a micro SD if you want, but you can just send it through their slicer to the printer that way.
Nice. Um, Now I do want to hit on this too before we go. I'd like to hit on that bamboo a little bit. I think that's um, a dope ass printer. Hey, Constitutional Carpenter, Barton Fink, what's up, y'all? Thank you. Agorizer, what's up, brother? You got any of them thermistors, man? um, 3D Print General printed his own head, life size.
Yeah, it's actually back there, and it's actually a little
Mhm.
bigger than life size. I didn't mean to, but it's bigger than
Oh
my own
yeah.
head.
Did you print it at 1.5x just in case you were gonna anneal it or?
No, I literally I didn't realize the scan was 1-to-1, and I just like kind of took a ruler to my head and was like, it should be this size, but I didn't realize the scanner actually did it proper 1-to-1.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So Kurt24, he's a big supporter of yours, and he's also, I just want to give him a shout out. He's a huge contributor to everyone in our little community here. So shout out to you,
Thank you,
Kurt.
Kurt.
But he mentioned this Polymaker, this very unique Polymaker link. Could you? And I
Yeah,
know you're not a fan of shilling, but
yeah. I
I
was about
I,
to say I honestly didn't come on here to sell my products, but
I know
I
it's
mean,
me. You can blame me, guys.
here, let
I
me.
I think it's something to be proud of.
Yeah, here, let me grab a spool. Yeah, so yeah, it was really cool. So Polymaker, the biggest shout out ever to those guys. I've been working with them. Like I said, they wrote a chapter for my book. It's what the main guy that works there. I've been talking to forever, and he's taken a lot of crap for working with me, and just basically tells them, I like cool stuff, and
Yeah.
so big props to Polymaker just for not caving when they literally get a bunch of emails. He sends me some of them, like HR, like complaining about working with me just because I make guns. And on top of that, they make good product. But I just
Yeah.
meant to say it's really cool that they work with us. And
Yeah,
he
they've
reached out
been
to,
like
yeah,
pretty openly 2A, openly well, the
as
like
open as
you
you can be.
yeah, without completely like saying we love guns, but it's he's like you said, they're pro cool shit, whether
Yeah.
it's a gun or a mask or whatever. Oh, and this is for gutter cheese. Thank you, gutter cheese. Hope that makes you feel better. It's just my voice. Don't be offended. It's just my voice. But so yeah, I think that's cool because most companies nowadays they don't make that stand, right? They don't come out and say like, oh, like, you know, um, m- guns, religion, politics, unless you're completely left, woke, like, that kind of shit. It's just not, that's not
Yeah.
most companies do. So I like that.
I consider them just neutral. They're just like, we like cool stuff. We don't care. Like you're saying, like
Yeah,
they work with quite a few creators who do not like me as well. Just because they're just like, oh, I don't mind, like whatever, they make cool stuff, support them.
yeah,
And but they were cool enough to reach out to me and one or two other guys and other creators saying, hey, would you like your own filament? And we
hmm
got to choose the material type that we wanted it to be in and the color that we wanted, which was so cool. And I figured, you know, what's the most common color for guns behind black? And I figured FDE. I guess Ranger Green is getting. I guess I'm a FUD or not a FUD, a boomer choosing the FDE, but
yeah,
I was like, I figure FDE. I always wanted an FDE gun, and so I let the community choose. I picked like, yeah, I think 6 different FDE colors, and I just let kind of people choose what they thought was the coolest, and I just went with whatever the community chose, and they ended up making it. And look at this, it's not so. First of all, let me see.
I'll get you on full screen.
Yeah, and I'll try to focus too. It's hard to get on camera. It is a good FDE color. It's hard to actually see it. But then on top of that, the cool thing is they didn't just put a sticker on a spool. They literally made this part of the cardboard, which is just so freaking cool to me.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, and then on top of that, I asked them, "Can you put this on here?" And they did. Come and make it. I was so shocked they allowed me to do that. So come and make it right on the spool, and then it's PLA Pro, which is the easiest to print, cheapest material that's good for 3D printed guns.
Yeah,
And
basically 3D. It's basically PLA plus,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
It's basically PLA Plus. The one unfortunate thing is it's $5 more than their normal PLA Pro, but I guess this process costs them a ton of money to do, like unique one-off things that they're not selling a ton of. But yes, it does support me and obviously them. And yeah, I was just super freaking stoked on it. And it's not like I'm making a ton of money or anything on it, but I literally was thinking like, you could pay me nothing, and I'll be happy because it's so cool to have this. So
Yeah, dude, I think the fact that it's like actually part of the freaking cardboard,
yeah.
and the fact that it says "Come and make it," and it is a Chinese company, right?
Oh yes, exactly. And he's based. So the guy who I work with, he is French, uh, living in China. He's actually moving to Houston soon because they're opening a facility in Houston. But
Nice.
he was French living in China, and yes, I tried to push it a little bit. I was like, "Can you come and make it?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can you put a QR code to Control Pew's website?" And they're like, "That's a little too much."
Yeah, yeah, that's cool shit though. And it's funny, I actually just put out a video like 2 weeks ago, called 50 Shades of FDE. It was a short, but that's kind of funny that he said that. Um, hot pink, hot pink is greater than FDE specifically for camo purposes, of course, right?
Well, I was trying to bug him. I'm like, get a print, shoot, repeat pink out there, PSR pink, and that thing will
Yeah.
sell like crazy. But
Oh, dude, people would, but especially for like a Glock with the 44, the 22 LR.
yeah,
That's we memed that video. Like I had it to a point where on my page, if anybody contributed, if anyone became a member, did like a super chat, I would actually play either the PSR key mod song or the little like that little thing where he's jamming out, shooting the dun 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 dun.
yeah.
Yeah. But to kinda settle all this, I would say I would choose FDE over OD Green every day. Every
You
day.
don't have to say that, man. You don't have to say that. I realized I've been told to buy it once I released it because it was secret forever. Yeah, yeah.
FDE, FDE, FDE all day.
Once I released it, because like I said, it was secret forever, and I got a bunch of comments saying, "Why didn't you do Ranger Green or ODG?" Or it's just like, "Ah, man, all right, well, buy a bunch of this, and then maybe they'll want to do a different color."
Yeah, true that. Yeah. And we should be supporting like anyone in the community that's doing things like that are kind of like, you know, breaking through like a barrier like that.
Yeah.
Like that's cool shit. We need to all come together and support it.
Yeah, and honestly, like I said, it's $5 more than the normal PLA Pro, so you don't have to buy mine. But their PLA Pro is $25. This is $30. So just buy their normal PLA Pro. They have a wide variety of colors. They don't have the FDE, but they have a wide variety. They have pink. They actually just released metallic colors. So now they have in strong PLA Pro gold, silver, bronze. So yeah, definitely check them out. I shill for them. I used to say they don't pay me, but I guess now technically, if you buy the FDE, they do pay me. But other than the FDE, they don't pay me. So definitely check them out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's reasonable. A few dollars to keep your channel going.
Yeah.
That's okay. So what are some new projects you're going to be working on, like print projects? You
Yeah.
plan on
So
printing anything crazy?
non-gun related. It's kind of off camera right there. That's man, I can't name the that is the Snapmaker J1. That is an IDEX printer, so two different extruder hot ends, and I've reviewed quite a
Nice.
few of those, but this is a really unique one because they're basically copying Bamboo Lab with the way it's they have their own spin on it, but it's fast, it's really user friendly, really easy to use. Um, and they that's one I'm really excited to check out. I unfortunately have not done more than a couple tests on it. So the two extruders, you can do dissolvable supports, you can do TPU and PLA, a bunch of cool stuff you can do with it. And then I have the Bamboo Lab P1P, which is their cheaper printer, basically just a stripped down version of their X1. And that one I still have to do a full review on. But then aside from that, gun related, I have a few different builds. I have a couple of the new Gen 3 for Chairman Wan's Glock 17. So I have two of those. I wanted to film those.
Okay.
I actually printed a Glock 43X in TPU, and I know it's
Oh, I
not going to
saw.
cycle. Yeah, I know it's not going to cycle right. And everybody's like, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "Because I want the slow-mo of me shooting it, and it kind of just like jiggling." Yeah, and so that's one
Dude,
I yeah.
please like just shoot like a primer first or something like that. Like
Well, I understand people being concerned, but TPU is really impact resistant, way more than any of the materials we use. You can take a PLA frame and throw it as hard as you want, and nothing will happen to it. It's just
Yeah.
flexible. So I don't think it's gonna break. It's just probably gonna like bend. You know what I
So,
mean?
I mean, what if you did a hybrid, kind of like you did, like you mentioned, the hybrid of, you know, PLA Plus and TPU, because I feel like that's kind of why, like, Gaston Glock, there's a lot of literature on why Gaston Glock and all the people that you know, helped develop it selected polymer because of the you know, the flexibility, I guess, of that material. Um, and I don't know. I'm thinking like of kind of the same thought behind like so Cold Steel. They make some of their blades where the outside is like very hard steel, but the inside is this kind of like softer, more mild steel. To where if you're just like thwacking it against a tree, like poof, 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 you know, it won't be so brittle that it'll crack. Right?
Yeah.
It is kind of like, you know, so I guess what I'm asking is, could you do a hybrid PLA Plus and TPU kind of mashup?
Yeah, and that's very possible. This one video, I just want the slow-mo of the gun jiggling as I shoot it, but,
Of course,
um, so
for the
I actually
lulls.
like like I said, that video that got demonetized of me with doing PLA and TPU, I think that's a whole area that's not really been explored in 3D printing because my thought process is composites where, you know, you could think of, I think even nano carbon fiber, but regardless, like bulletproof glass was the first thing I thought of, where it's glass and then some sort of soft resin, then glass and some sort of soft resin. And the
Yeah.
idea is it's super high tensile, but then it has a little bit of give with the flexible material.
Hmm.
And I was just thinking that could be possible because PLA, regular PLA, has a super high tensile strength, especially for a polymer. And then, but it's just brittle, like it has no bend to break ratio at all. If I was trying to combine that with TPU so that I was trying to make a bulletproof print. And so I have a couple videos on my 3D Pew general channel where I was trying to make a bulletproof print. And I actually made one that stopped a 9mm bullet that was an inch
Wow.
thick, but I didn't have a backstop. And people were telling me, like, oh, that's, you know, you're losing a lot of the energy from the part flying. And unfortunately, my reprint with a backstop did not work, but it at least did something. You know, I was able to
Yeah.
dig a 9mm bullet out of a 1 inch thick print, and it's just from combining different combinations of TPU and PLA, where it's just like that
Dang.
hard TPU and then the flex of the the hard PLA and the flex of the TPU.
Damn. That's pretty crazy.
There's a lot of potential there with just it's just it's not the easiest thing in the world to print right now. So
You know what? You know what you could do? You could actually take something like so the I don't even have one here. The Lone Wolf frame. They made an 80% frame. The rails you actually place in kind of like puzzle pieces for the front rails. And guys, I see the comments and the super chat. I promise I'll get to it in a second. Where you could actually, you know, work it into the G code to pause and then like slip the rails in, and then it can go back over and extrude over and kind of have as close to the way that Glock did it as possible, where they're actually infused inside the material.
yeah.
That'd be pretty
hundred
pretty
percent.
crazy.
There's actually I can't remember the title of it, so I won't be able to say it right here. But there's a guy who did a video, not gun related, but just showing the different ways you can utilize that in 3D printing, where he's building all these complex objects and putting metal in it as it was printing. And for instance, I don't know if you saw Hoffman's stock that he designed. That's meant for that, where you pause at a certain heights, put the nuts in, and it like closes the nuts off, so they're like literally in the print. And
Dang, I didn't realize that.
so, but he's just doing, I think, nuts and a couple other ways to fasten things together. But yes, that's another thing that has not been explored in 3D printed guns at all, where you could factor it in so that you pause at a print, just throw in that little metal rail, like you're saying, and now it's part of the print, and you don't have to
Yeah,
even worry about putting pins through or anything.
yeah, yeah. That'd be cool shit. So real quick, just a few folks here. Barton Fink. excuse me, says, Dark, your spool would need to say, your government hates you and wants you dead. That is one of my sayings. Flying Rich, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, 3D Print General, how was the steak dinner?
Yes. So Polymaker, when Nicholas, the guy who I know, was visiting Houston, I live like 3.5 hours from Houston, and he told me he was in town, so I came out there. I didn't know they said to take me to a dinner, and we'd show up at this nicest steak dinner place I think like I've ever been to. And I looked at the menu and the prices. I was like, I'm not ordering anything. And they're like, just do it, just do it. And
That's
so I got
awesome.
like one of the cheaper steaks, but it was phenomenal. I love steak. It was absolutely delicious. And of course, Nicholas bought the like 32-ounce massive thing, and he
Dang,
ate the whole thing. So
that's crazy. Here, for all you ASMR guys out there, let me get a little. There you go. I don't want it to blow all over my mic. My SM7B mic.
Is that a Topo Chico?
It is. It's a Topo. It's
Nice.
I guess it's a Texas drink, but it's out here in Virginia too. So
Yeah, I didn't know what it was until I moved here, and
yeah, it's out there like crazy. I used to go to Austin, and not only in Austin, but I would go to Austin at least quarterly for work stuff, and I became very familiar with that town and or city, whatever. And then I started going out to like Houston, Katy, Dallas, all those different areas. FDSS, good to see you here, brother. It's been a little while. Sorry, I'm a little behind on comments, guys, but he says HTPLA for heat treat, like annealing, I guess.
yeah, and I'm always honest here. I have not done enough testing in that regard to really. I've never done anything gun related with HTPLA. I have annealed a couple things, but that was forever ago. And I know one of you guys have a joke comment about him in here, but actually, P80 Ralph's done a decent amount of testing with HTPLA, and it has
Mm-hmm.
worked for him a decent amount. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I have heard it works. I've noticed annealing can change the dimensions slightly, so you might run into issues there. But like I said, P80 Ralph didn't have any issues with it.
yeah. I haven't done any testing with it at all, and any attempt at like, I bet if I do this and heat, like, no, you really have to do it 100%, like, actually putting it in a media, consistently heating it at temperature, all the little hacks that I thought I could do with, just kind of messing around with stuff, not doing anything, real. But hair dryers and lighters, don't cut it, trust me.
Right.
That's me, I know.
Yeah, I think salt is a really good one if you pack it really densely with salt. But
Who got jokes about NBC Ralph? That's funny. What were you talking about with Ralph?
oh, me, I was just saying how he did HTPLA testing a decent amount.
Oh,
I,
okay. I didn't.
yeah,
I
and I
didn't
was
know.
just saying I remember somebody else had the username of something to do with him, so that's why I commented that.
Oh, so that actually is Ralph, the ghost of P80 Ralph.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's actually.
Oh, okay. I was just I thought somebody was making fun of him, but hey, what's
Yeah,
up,
no,
Ralph? I did not know you're in here.
yeah. He
I
may still
actually
be in here.
he lives like 40 minutes from me, so
Nice.
I hang out with him and Chairman and Ricky and a few other people a decent amount.
So
So
before he moved, him and I lived about 40 minutes away from each other.
oh, nice.
Yeah, kind of
Oh,
crazy.
so okay, awesome.
Yeah. So small world.
Yeah.
Sandbox in the oven. Yeah, that's sand, salt. Some kind of media. Angry Sarge, what's up, brother? But I haven't messed with that at all either. DLD, I'm about to drop pressure on you. Which one of the P80s behind you're donating to your Christmas giveaway? Oh, that's so funny. So I think I'll pick the one. Just kidding. I'm not going to pick one. Mostly because all of those up there, those are all drilled, and all the ones below it, they're all frames and jigs and rails and all that. But the problem is that I could never give frames away because I sell jigs. So like, let's say somebody bought a jig from me completely unrelated, right? And then like I do a frame giveaway in a year. and then the ATF is like, ha, this person that bought a jig later, a year later, got a frame, and I would literally go to,
Anybody with any sort of presence online, especially if you show your face and you're easy to look up, you really have to be extra careful. And it's just like even friends that I'm like, I know you're not a Fed, but I'm not giving you one. Like, just
yeah,
I'll give you a printer and teach you how to do it. So
yeah, it's
like
so funny, like,
if just any part of my room is bugged or anything, I don't know, like
yeah, like you're saying, once you put your face out there, once once you do any type of content creation that says like, I openly own guns and carry gun, anything like that, they're like, okay, let's look at this guy. Let's figure out who he is. It's not like he gave all of his private information to YouTube, but we're not that difficult.
I'm sure they would love to get somebody like PSR. You know what I mean? It once the higher profile, the more your face is out there, the more careful you got to be. If you're some anonymous guy who doesn't really post your builds or anything like that, you do you. I'm not gonna say anything, but
yeah, shit, I don't give a fuck if honestly, if anybody out there, you do whatever in the world you want. I couldn't give two shits about it. I encourage you to be as free and as independent and as private as you'd like. But like one of the people in chat here, we kind of have a little bit of a disagreement all the time. He's like, too many choices. There you go. He's like, they already know who I am, though. So he says that the NFA is unconstitutional when you hold individuals to the NFA. That it should only be held to FFLs. And even if that were true, even if they did truly follow the Constitution, which, guys, look at us, like, we have 50,000 fucking gun laws in the United States. Like, we're done. We're making progress. Things are looking good. I'm optimistic and positive. And at the same time, somebody's gonna meme that shit. And at the same time, there's so many different encroachments on our rights as individuals, and you guys know what I believe. This isn't about me, but I just want to share really quickly. I believe that every single human being in the world has the right to privately manufacture firearms and explosives in the privacy of their own home with zero governmental overreach. And I think everybody should have that right in the world, regardless of a constitution or a state constitution. But they don't agree. So you could believe that the NFA or something like that shouldn't be, that individuals shouldn't be held to those standards. But I guarantee you, if they were to knock down your door and walk in your house and shoot your dog and search your house and cut open kids' toys and cereal boxes, like, they go so fucking ham when they search a house, like sliding cameras through vents and shit. Like, they don't fuck around. They will absolutely hold you to the NFA. I promise you, even if it's unconstitutional.
And to that point, and regardless if it's unconstitutional, they could have not even passed something, and they'll still enforce it. So, for instance, I mean, like, I don't know if you know who Irwin Schiff is. I don't know if you heard the name Peter Schiff at all, but anyway, his dad, Irwin Schiff, he was a well-known guy for saying the income tax was never passed constitutionally, and how he went to lawyers, and lawyers all told him, you're technically right, but you're not going to win this battle.
Yeah, it doesn't say anywhere that you have to pay income tax.
Yeah, and so he told the whole world. He wrote books on it. He was doing it for years, not paying his taxes. He ended up dying in prison. So it's like, they can't admit that he was right. Just like they're not going to be able to admit that the NFA is, they're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah, this is funny. DLD After Dark. I used to preface all my questions with, I love my dog too much to ever get a printer or mess with anything. Well, my dog died. So, to heat treat or not to heat treat?
Well, I'm sorry about your dog, man.
Yeah, sorry about your dog. Hopefully it was of natural causes. I think we had a couple more in here, but sorry. So I apologize. We were talking about future builds and things like that. Any rifle builds or anything coming up in the future? You said you're going to do some Chairman ones.
Yeah, other than the ones I just said, I'm super behind on Suckboy Tony's. I was
That's
supposed
right.
to build that like 4 months ago, but I lagged, and now he's coming out with the V2, and so I'm like, I'll just wait for the V2 and I'll build that one. So once he's
Yeah.
done with that, I don't know when, hopefully soon, I will officially, finally, actually start building that one. I think, aside from the fact I think it'll do views, I really think that one is cool. So it'll be cool to actually pack down my own black powder into the cases and
Yeah,
and
that's dope.
see it work.
Yeah,
I
that's
have all
super.
I have all the components. I just don't have the printed parts right now. So
Yeah, well, that's a quick, easy fix.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And there's something else I was going to ask somebody. Oh, if you had to choose one caliber of the two, would you choose 9 millimeter or 40 caliber?
Yeah, see, I always have to say, I'm not educated on guns. Like I always say, like I didn't get into this hobby until 2021. I don't know if I've shot a 40. I've shot a ton
Good
of
for
nine
you.
millimeter. I have like, probably 9 millimeter guns, including my private, but I don't know if I've ever even shot a 40. So I can't give you I'll have to say 9 because that's the only one I've shot.
Well, that's an excellent answer. Let's start by saying that, and congratulations for never firing a 40 caliber. It's kind of a joke. We just kind of pick on each other. Look, I'll tell y'all, I don't want to
Well,
be on
God's
the
caliber is
end.
45, right? So we need to.
Yeah, I've heard that. Something about a couple world wars. I don't know.
Yeah.
But hey, a lot of people are like 2 world wars. Do you know what round the Luger was in?
No.
9 by 19 Parabellum.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, there were
what's going
several
to do
different
3
versions.
world wars is the 3011. So I mean, there's no
True.
stopping it.
It could be. I mean, look, I would not want to get hit with a 40, a 9, a 22. I don't want to get hit with a fucking airsoft. Okay. So,
Yeah.
no shade to the guys that are actually rocking 40. You just may be the one guy at the party that's like, I'm black on ammo. I need a mag. And then someone tosses you a 9 millimeter magazine. That's just, you'll have to deal with that. So yeah, so the black powder stuff. Have you ever messed with like any someone mentioned like fireworks and stuff earlier. Have you ever mentioned with or messed with any fireworks or any like building of combustibles or anything like that?
No, I'm a novice. I'm going to be reading the tutorials very strictly.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If you ever need any recipes, any only totally lawful recipes, that's something that we talk about a great deal on this channel. So, well, not a great deal. I'd say we have a solid half a dozen streams that are very focused on certain chemicals. We even had a 2.5 hour stream with Danny Meatballs, who's a bomb tech. He's an EOD guy.
Yeah.
We were just talking about explosives for 2.5 hours. It's cool stuff, just for scientific reasons.
Hell yeah. I mean, my hands have survived this long. I don't know if I should mess with something that might actually blow them off, but who knows? Talk to me in 6 months. I might change my mind.
Well, with your bones being so fragile, I wouldn't
Yeah.
want
Just a
anything.
shockwave will mess me up.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Some of this stuff is like, okay, so we're talking about like, TNT, trinitrile toluene, right? It's like 6,800 meters per second. Okay, so if you're looking at like a 9 millimeter cartridge,
Holy
right?
crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just
So
doing the math in my head.
yeah, it's like 38,000 feet per second. It's
Yeah.
like, good God. So, yeah, I mean, that stuff could just literally, like totally just shockwave your insides. And that's why something like a grenade, which is like an RDX primer with a comp B payload, that's got a 5 meter kill radius. It's no joke. But guys, don't play with explosives. It's not good, seriously. And if you do anything with explosives, make sure you follow all federal, state laws, rules, regulations, restrictions, and sanctions. And don't anything that you make, you have to consume it on your own property, not for commercial use. And also, you can't transport it, you can't store it unless you have an FEL. And also, the most important thing is to never, ever take advice from DLD After Dark. And if you do, you're stealing.
Yeah, what was it? That Whitest Kid You Know sketch where he said, "You absolutely cannot say I'm going to kill the president." You know, it was like you absolutely cannot say that. so it's,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
That.
absolutely cannot say you can make your own bombs at home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As long as you're not doing it for commercial. So funny thing, one of the things there is you can do it for commercial purpose. You cannot do it for commercial purposes. Well, I uploaded a video of me, blowing up a little flash powder thing, and I clicked monetize, and I was like, "Uh-oh, I shouldn't monetize that because that would technically be for So I obviously followed the rules, laws, regulations, restrictions, and sanctions.
Yeah, we're all bootlickers, so.
Yeah, I know. It's
Hey, I got pulled over recently, and I was like nice, and they let me off with a warning, and then I just felt like I was like, "Oh, I feel dirty."
feel all dirty. I know. It's kind of the way of the world. It's like, look, I don't not support law enforcement. I've met some,
Oh yeah,
honestly,
obviously, yeah.
some great, great police, great cops, and some cops that are like openly, like Angry Sarge out there. He's former law enforcement. This guy is like, I will never do anything that encroaches on anybody's human rights. I'm like, what? you know? And I've met some other cops like that too in real life. And um,
Oh, no, my,
when you
my, my uncle was a cop, so I agree with that statement. Just the overall institution, I just felt dirty. Just like,
yeah.
oh hi, oh, I'm so sorry for going over the speed limit. I just
Yeah, yeah,
I just felt
yeah.
dirty for doing that.
Do you carry as well?
I actually don't. I did for a while. I like I said, I have that Southern California mentality of just like I feel weird with one in the chamber pointing at my dick. So
Yeah,
I still like I'm only a year and a half into this stuff. I'm not quite comfortable yet. I think I would be if I had one with a thumb safety. I know that might sound weird, but like just the idea of just pointing right at me, I feel
yeah.
I don't
That
feel quite comfortable.
it's fair. It's fair. I mean,
Well,
this.
real quick, come out and Pele said, I quoted Whitest Kid You Know. Trevor Moore was like if you look at my Google Play Music or YouTube Music, #1 artist was Trevor Moore, and I was really sad that he passed away. So young
Mm,
dude. I think the rumor was going around that he was making what's the alcohol that you make in your backyard?
like moonshine.
Moonshine, yeah,
Mhm.
and blew himself up. So
Damn. There's only a couple ways to go out with moonshine, and none of them are good. Either you got to be a straight pro, or you're gonna blow up or go blind or burn your insides. It's none of it's good.
yeah, he was a super funny dude, and his podcast, like a week before he died, was saying how he's gonna try making moonshine in his backyard, and then they said they found him dead in his backyard, and they didn't give any more explanation. So that was the rumor that it was like
Dang,
he was joking about on his podcast, and then gone. So be
that's
careful
brutal.
with explosives and moonshine.
Yes, yes, and never mix the two.
Yeah,
Um, so okay, so then, what would it take, do you think, to uh, start carrying a gun, even if it wasn't chambered, right? Even because that's kind of how I started when I was 21, right? Wink, wink. When I was 21 and only lawfully with a permit, wink, wink. Um,
in
I
Minecraft.
yeah, I started carrying it with a clear chamber and a loaded mag. I still kind of felt like it was a time bomb. That was, almost 15 years ago, but it took a little kind of building up to it. You think you could see yourself doing something like that?
Yeah, and I am comfortable carrying without one in the chamber. Completely comfortable with that. It's just I've seen so many memes and so many people saying that's like you're better off not doing that because by the time you rack your slide, you'll probably be like just and
Basically.
if somebody's aiming a gun at you, you're not going to be able to rack your slide. So I saw enough memes and everything to just kind of go. I might as well just not carry. But yeah, I think a thumb safety would honestly make me feel way more comfortable. I currently like my shield that I have that it's 3D printed, but it doesn't have a
Mhm.
thumb safety. I wouldn't mind uh, just something, just an extra little flick,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
So
So
I think that would that be a fair goal for us to say, let's come together as a community and help get 3D print general carrying a gun every single day.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, I luckily, so I live in a small community, like 15,000 people. I'm in between San Antonio and Austin, and it's a super. Everybody carries everywhere. So,
Yeah.
luckily, where I live, it's I feel pretty safe. But yes,
Yeah, you
when I
got
go outside,
like full-time bodyguards, basically. That's cool though. I mean, it's all personal preference, and I just uh, there's I'm weird about keeping your tools on you. So recently, and I've told this story a few times. I was gonna have a guy on just about a week ago, but there was some confusion with the time differences, so we ended up rescheduling it. But this guy got caught in. I don't want to go through the whole story again, but basically, he was at a celebration. It was a friend's house, right? And a lot of people are like, "Well, I'm not going to carry at my friend's house, or my kid's birthday party, or because nothing will happen there, right?" Well, he was carried 24/7, and I'm a proponent of that, keeping your tools on you. And he ended up it was basically a neighbor that came over to a July 4th gathering and opened fire on these random people. He ended up getting shot in the head, and the round entered right over his right temple. It traveled through, basically broke this orbital socket, went through his sinuses, exited his left eye, and literally blew out his left eye. So like his left eye was hanging by the orbital nerve. And I know it's really disgusting, but the reason I'm saying all that is because this guy went on to continue shooting people all throughout the house. And totally random event, unprovoked. The guy just was a neighbor that went batshit crazy. Well, he got up after being hit in the head with a 9 millimeter, and it just happened to hit him at such an angle that it didn't penetrate into his like actual into his brain. And he got up, he drew his handgun, and he went to where the gunshots were going off, and he put 4 rounds of 45 ACP into the guy. 2 of the 4 rounds hit his heart directly, and he killed him. And the guy ended up having another handgun in his waistband that he just didn't get to draw yet. So you never know, and our lives are all too valuable to.
damn, that dude's a hero. But yeah, I get the story. I mean, I get the idea. I've said I want to forever, especially since constitutional carry was passed, like earlier this year or whenever that was passed. It might have been a year
Yeah,
ago. And I keep saying it. And like I said, I carried without one in the chamber. I did it like every day for a few months, and then I just saw a meme, and then I Googled it, and I looked further, and I'm like, people were saying you're better off not to carry than to carry one without one in the chamber, just
yeah,
because So I just, like I said, it's a matter of getting comfortable with one in the chamber. So
yeah. I got you. I got you. I don't mean to push too hard. Just wanted to share that.
no. I do agree. I want to get a non 3D printed, maybe just a normal shield, like because I do like the shield, even though it's 3D printed, and just get that with the thumb safety, and I think that would be good.
If there was let me think here. Would you want a polymer frame, like something like that, with a thumb safety, or could it
I
be
don't have a
anything?
preference. I'm out of shape, but I'm pretty skinny, so I anything too big, and like I think a 19 would be too big, so just anything compact.
So like inside the waistband rig for like a 3011 with a side folding brace and a 20 round. I'm just kidding. That would be badass if like you're like, yeah, I IWB carry a 3011 with a brace. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time to come in and
yeah.
hang out with all of us, and being able to like go through like the highlights of what you've done with your books, what you've done with the filament, and just kind of how the community has rallied around you. I'm hoping that now you're over 100,000 subscribers, that YouTube just like stops fucking with you.
Yeah, and I have no
Uh,
more gun content, so hopefully they just leave me alone. I don't know, on the main channel at least.
Yeah, I just something in the back of my head tells me that they don't care if you're actually not breaking the community guidelines.
I broke wrong thing, so.
Yeah, right. It's like you think differently, right? Just do like a purple stripe through your hair or something. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Well, anything else you want to leave the ladies and gentlemen with before we go?
No, I'm good. I guess I'll just mention I have here. I'm hosting the 3D Printed Gun Awards at the end of this month. I'm
Woo,
making little Ludi awards for all the winners. It'll have
nice.
titles over here. And the nominations actually end like really soon, within the next hour or two. So if you guys want to vote, there's currently 1,100 votes right now. We have all the nominees. It's hard for me to say the URL right now, but if you go to my 3D Pew General YouTube channel, it's like the third most recent video. It'll say 3D Printed Gun Awards, and it'll have a link down there where you can vote if you'd like to vote.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, man. And I'm sorry, I was reading chat. When did you say that your
So it's planned for the 29th, but I want to make sure I can get everything done in time for there. I want to make it entertaining, like a spoof Oscars. Right now I have like 4 or 5 different sponsors pretty much confirmed, where not money to me, but to the winners, to the all the nominees are getting lower parts kits from JSD. All the winners are getting extra stuff. So I'm trying to make it fun and entertaining, and 29th is the tentative day.
Awesome. And you actually also had a recent giveaway. What were some of the things you gave away on the 100,000 subscriber stream?
Yeah, so Polymaker was on that stream with me. They gave away, I think, 4 spools of their filament. And then during the stream, they had a half hour where it was 50% off everything on their website. And then I gave away one of my FDE spools. We gave away a filament dryer that IBOS offered. And finally, Bamboo Lab gave away a refurbished X1 Carbon, which was the grand finale.
Damn, that is crazy. Damn.
Yeah, super stoked. Yeah, and this, honestly, with the current talks I'm in with a few different sponsors, I'm thinking if you add up all the winners and the nominees, it's going to be a few $1,000s worth of stuff. So it'll be fun.
Okay, nice. So, guys, make sure that you support 3D Print General. Make sure, look, even if you don't have a printer, if you plan on maybe getting one in the future, go grab one of his books, right? Like that. Understanding failures is the only way to reach success in, number one, mostly anything, but especially printing. And grab a spool of his filament. We need to support everybody within the community. And did I appreciate you and everything you've done, man? It's epic.
No, thank you. And you built a great community over here. So thanks for having me.
Appreciate that, man. And I'm going to close out the stream like we close every single stream, guys. So make sure at the very end, when the stream publishes, you'll be able to go comment and comment on other people's comments. Just comment. And I'm going to be using those to, do random drawings and shit like that. This week is when I'm going to be doing some more drawings. You guys will see. I just picked up one of these. I'm going to see if I can talk to this company. This is like an EDC spike, right? This thing is like medieval, like badassery. It's pretty crazy. It's hard to get it all on the camera there, but something like that. Something like the Tack Knives OTF switchblades. These are awesome. And I still got a couple that need to go out. Morningstar is one of them too. What's up, brother? The stream schedule is still Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. Usually it'll go public at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, and then I'll start at 10. Tonight we just happened to start at 9:30-ish. And this is another one of the Tack Knives. And if you use code DARK, you get 20% off. So
how heavy are your pants with all this stuff?
Oh, bro, I'm actually known for carrying in my sweatpants. I got the shoulder rig on now, but I'm usually carrying a Glock 43X with a 20+1, the Shield S15 with a +5, a backup 15-round mag, a pocket knife, a small flashlight from Goonbeam, and a little pepper spray. But it's small stuff too, like a little OC spray. This is I really don't want to spend my bullets kind of thing. And, and this Goonbeam is 1,250 lumens and 85,000 candela. It's like crazy bright. And Cloud Defense was dropping this like crazy, like, forgot what it was, like something like 1,500 lumen, 100,000 candela light. So Goonbeam just dropped a 1,800 lumen, 110,000 candela light just to compete with Cloud Defense. It's crazy. So support them too, guys. And what's up, Mark Tucker? What's up, all you guys? Yeah, that's just what I was talking about. That's awesome. Hell yeah. But we'll go ahead and bring it to an end. Sorry, I babble sometimes. So obviously we got to start with the closeout, which is rule number 1 is to be kind. It's so important that you're kind in everything that you do. That brief little interaction that you have with somebody else is an opportunity for you to be kind, and that could have a huge impact on their life, more than you may know. Also, rule number 2, live a life of care, compassion, contribution, give to others. You know, a hand that's open to give is open to receive. So as you bless others, you become blessed. That's just the way the world works. Also, number 3, we know the way of the world is that we will only be able to combat evil with good men skilled in violence. So make sure that you're becoming as highly skilled in violence as you possibly can be, and be safe, be dangerous, and keep that thing on you. And with that, y'all, we're out. Thank you, 3D Print General. Guys, make sure you go support him, show some love, get the book, get the spool, and we'll see y'all later. Oh, and subscribe to his gun channel too.
Thank you, man.
Thanks. See y'all later. And guys, don't forget, comment, and also don't forget Morningstar. And the people that I owe the gifts, they're sitting right there. I will get them out this week. Okay, sorry, y'all. Love y'all. Bye. Comment.